my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
They're here.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
It's showtime.
Right, welcome everybody to another episode of the VHS Strikes Back. I am one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to the VHS Strikes Back, the show where we dust off the old video player and go on a nostalgic journey to look at the good and the bad movies of yesteryear. Now, Chris, what are we going to review this week?
Well, Dave, this is your pick, and, you know, being a sci-fi aficionado, you've decided to throw a sci-fi movie in the mix that obviously the genre that I always play up to and hate. This one is from 1994. It stars James Spader, Kurt Russell, and I remember at the time it being a massive movie, that PR, everything, but this one's Stargate. So Dave, did you see this in the cinema or was this a rental?
So this was a rental job, but back in the day, I mean, it's just weird the way these things, universes collided, Chris, because 95, right, so it came out in America in 94, but it was more 95 by the time it came out on VHS over in the UK. And by this time, I was already at university. I'd fallen upwards, I think is probably the right phrase, because I wasn't particularly studious. There were lots of other things to be interested when you're a teenager, but I ended up falling into this sort of situation. But I fucking loved the lifestyle there. I remember, Monday night it was Arabella's 70p a pint. You had Tokyo Joe's, this up in Preston. So you had a retro night on the Tuesday. You had the student night on the Wednesday. You had student union was, you'd follow around the promotions, like the free drinks. And we're talking in the era when it was, like say, 70p was the Monday night Arabella's, but you're talking broadly £1 a pint. So I was fucking loving it. And part of the ritual was to stop by, a takeaway on the way back. The cuisine of choice right, at the time was a couple of onion bhajis with garlic sauce, 80p, Chris.
Oh, I love onion bhajis.
Amazing. Yeah, and I stumbled across this thing because kebab was something like $2.50 or something like that. It's quite expensive, but especially if you're out every night. But 80p for these, it hits the spot, and I always remember that. And then they had a seating area, so it wasn't just a takeaway and you eat it walking home. There's proper seating area and everything. And you'd get involved in such fucking ridiculous, drunken discussions. And obviously, I'm on a fucking physics course, aren't I? So, we were all the cool kids.
Groovy gang.
Yeah. So, but I remember, and again, they weren't your stereotypical, it wasn't like the Big Bang Theory or anything. But I remember being in this one conversation, and this guy Jay was telling me about this book, and it come out I think in the 70s or something, called Chariots of the Gods. And I think since then it's all been disproven, but he was saying about all these theories from this book about how if you look at stories in the Bible, how it translates to modern day technology. So if you didn't have the technology, say you were in, ancient Egyptian times and you saw a rocket, say, flying through the air, well, in the daytime, it would look like smoke, and in the nighttime, it would look like a star or something like that. You wouldn't have the language, you wouldn't have the vocabulary to be able to describe these things. And of course, you have your most intellectual discussions at fucking 2:00 in the morning, don't you? After 10 pints of watered down fucking beer piss. But anyway, I just remember thinking, oh, wow, this is fucking amazing. The idea really grabbed me that, yeah, I mean, how were the pyramids created? It's fucking madness. With the technology of the day, it just seems weird. These massive stones, how do you move them around and stuff? And yeah, could you have had aliens who built the pyramids and stuff like that. And it just really grabbed my imagination, and was one of the things, because I'd started off on a physics route, and I ended up moving towards more astrophysics when I sort of got into the later years. And so I was really, really grabbed by it. And then this movie comes along, and I'm like, fucking hell! It sort of almost brings to life what I had in my mind's eye about how it could be. And I just thought it was amazing. I thought it was so good at the time. And I mean, it has become this cultural phenomenon, hasn't it? It's spawned all of these different TV shows and whatever. But it's just one of those weird moments in time with what was going on in my personal life just coincided with this movie that came along right where my mind was ripe for absorbing something like this, and just absolutely loved it. Now, what about yourself, Chris?
Well, Dave.
Top that one.
Yeah. Well, when he started talking about, was it Tokyo Joe's? I thought we were doing an episode of The Office.
Jacks, as the locals used to call it.
Yeah, I thought we were David Brent in it, Dave. The old Cuban leader, Ray Bentos. I remember watching this on VHS. We'd definitely been go cinema, probably about 95-ish. And it was this big thing at the time, like you say. It was a big phenomenon. But I remember the reviews weren't that strong on it. And some had called it. And obviously the reviews then was, you read the newspaper or you watched Barry Norman, didn't you, or whatever, talk about what he thought of these movies if you wanted to sort of get some context on it. And a lot of it was word of mouth as well. But knowing it was it had Star in it, a Star Wars fan, and I'm thinking, obviously not Star Trek, I was hoping it went more into Star Wars. Let's watch it. And I have seen it once, genuinely, and I remember being a fan of the first series of the TV show, which was on Sky One, I think, last week. And it's interesting knowing that the movie, even though critically, a lot of people hate this movie, it's in the middle, and it's like 50%, and some of the big reviewers absolutely detested it, said it was really clunky and too much special effects. Whereas now, you'd be crying out for more special effects. But he spawned this whole TV franchise. So obviously that was already in place, wasn't it, when the movie came, and it made money, which is interesting, despite the sort of lukewarm reviews. But I just remember watching it and thinking, yeah. And that was, I'm not loving it, not hating the movie, but just sort of right, okay. But then, like I say, being intrigued by the TV show, which I liked, but then never went past the first series. I don't think I finished the first series, but I just remember thinking, I've got to watch this. You'd probably come out the first series, maybe about 96, 97, whatever it was. It definitely was a big thing Sky were promoting. I just remember it so well. I used to watch Renegade on Sky One and things like that, which I've mentioned before, which was the Outlaw Bounty Hunter, which I absolutely loved. But then you had stuff like this. Star Trek was always on, wasn't it, as well on Sky? Star Trek, The Next Generation, with Picard and all them Muppets. That was always on Sky.
I didn't have Sky at this point, and so I've missed out on all of this. It was more when I was living at home, they had Sky, and that's when I caught all the wrestling sort of in the 89, 90 time. But about the mid-90s, didn't have anything Sky. I actually went on Amazon this week, so I thought, I'm going to try out the TV show, just watch an episode or something. And I looked, and there's 10 fucking variants of it. I'm like, where the fuck do I start? There's Stargate Atlantis? Where the fuck did that come from? So, there's this whole world of Stargate TV shows. I mean, it's not quite as good, I'm sure, as Universal Soldier, but I
Legend.
It becomes daunting. I guess this is what it feels like if you've never watched a Marvel movie. You're like, oh, fucking hell, I don't want to watch 30 movies to catch up. So, I just didn't know where to start. I think it was SG-1, the first one, wasn't it?
That was it, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe I'll watch that at some point, but I'm not fucking watching all of these.
No. And then also, it's are they all canon as well? Are they all intertwined, or is he just a different Stargate takes to a different... I don't know. I've never seen past that. And I couldn't even tell you, to be honest, Dave, past the first series, what even happened. I just remember the Stargate opening and them going through it. I can't remember the plot of SG-1 or whatever it was called. So, it's just interesting you pick this, because obviously it's got an iconic, whatever we think of the movie, he's got an iconic VHS cover. Remember Kurt Russell I remember James Spader, but I didn't remember anything else. So watching it now, it was like watching a new movie. There was a couple of bits that was like, oh, I remember that. But mostly the whole story was just me as if I'd never seen it, which was interesting. It's been so long, over 30 years since I watched it.
Yeah.
Getting old, mate. We're getting old.
Stop looking at the number of years. In my mind, it's like 20 years.
10 in mind. The 90s was the best time, I think. And at the time, I probably hated the 90s. You always look back with nostalgia. You always see people going, oh, I'd love to go back to the 70s. And I'm like, for that, I've said it before, I'm a techno geek. No working internet, no computers or anything, no consoles, no chance. I mean, I've got my football career
in the woods for a copy of Razzle.
Exactly, Dave. Fucking hell. Can't do that. Fucking sniffing fucking underwear off washing lines or something, wouldn't you? Be fucked, wouldn't you? In the 70s, not now.
And on that bombshell, let's get into our trailer.
I don't know, I've come up with some shit.
That took a turn. Some films take you to new worlds. This one takes you through a giant intergalactic hula hoop.
Yes, it's Stargate, the only movie brave enough to ask, what if aliens built the pyramids because they were really into patio furniture?
I love how you sort of flirt in and out with this Irishness.
That wasn't Irish, I was supposed to do an Egyptian voice, but you Scottish.
No, you're fucking walking the line there.
Exactly, don't cancel me.
Fucking Eamon Holmes. James Spader plays the nerdy linguist who solves the Stargate, mostly by looking confused until the subtitles do the work for him.
And Kurt Russell plays a colonel so emotionally repressed his group would think his first name is Grant.
Or something similar. Together, they journey to a distant planet that looks like someone spilled a sandpit on the set of Gladiators.
Watching for them is Ra, an alien god with a haircut of a shampoo advert and the acting style of, yes, I'm getting paid for this.
There'll be gunfights, rebellion, and spaceships shaped like pyramids because subtlety isn't in their strong suit.
It's a film that gave us 10 minutes of plot and then spent 2 hours proving Egypt is just better with lasers.
That's true.
Stargate, unlocking the mystery of the universe with the power of dodgy CGI and Kurt Russell's flat top.
Available on VHS with the tracking issues that make Ra look like Max Headroom. Stargate.
In 1928, Egypt, archaeologist Professor Paul Langford and his daughter Catherine uncovered stones engraved with hieroglyphs, beneath which lay a mysterious metallic ring. Decades later, in 1994, a now elderly Catherine recruits Egyptologist and linguist Dr. Daniel Jackson to translate the inscriptions. Now housed at a secret US Air Force base in Colorado, under the command of Colonel Jack O'Neill, Jackson discovers that the markings describe a Stargate that uses constellations as coordinates, and he is shown the massive ring itself.
I bet he is.
By aligning its rotating inner track with several chevrons on the rim.
Fucking hell.
The device activates and creates a wormhole
I bet it does.
to another planet.
Went to Uranus, did it?
How many euphemisms. So, Chris, what do you reckon to the opening of this movie?
I don't know whether I've put the wrong search engine on, Dave. You know what? This movie's a shocker.
What?
It's a shocking movie. It's absolutely shocking. I think at the start, James Spader's character, obviously, he's the bumbling, Egyptologist or whatever he is. He's like, this bumbling buffoon. He's very clever. He's doing his whole speech to like this like group of people, obviously scientists, and one of them pushes him on the whole theory of like the pyramids or whatever, and it just falls to shit, and everyone leaves the room. So like, all right, fair enough. And then you've got the woman there, Catherine, and she's speaking to him. But what I love, Dave, is when he goes outside and then he gets in her car and he's talking to her. And then someone's got a hose pipe making it look like it's the worst rain we've ever seen. And he's getting pissed right through and she's chatting away to him. But then she hands him a plane ticket, and says, here. So what does he do, Dave? He's absolutely throwing it down. He starts reading the paper ticket there. And I'm like, well, that's obviously going to be invalid, or it's just going to disintegrate, mate. What are you doing? So anyway, that's just a little thing I picked up on. However, Dave, the next scene is we get a very chiseled Kurt Russell sat on his end of his son's bed. 2 army guys come in. He's got a gun. And it's you can see that obviously that he's lost his son. His wife's downstairs. He's up there. He's got a lovely haircut and everything. And then they sort of say, right, we need you. And the next bit, Kurt Russell's got a Guile / Ivan Drago flat top for no reason at all. It is the most ridiculous haircut ever. They filmed this in 94. That's when Street Fighter came out, I think, as well, with Van Damme. He could have played Guile there, Dave. 100% he could have played him. He's the typical US soldier, and it looks good. He's in great shape in this. And I've got to say, Dave, Kurt Russell is a good-looking bloke in it. He is chiseled, the blue eyes, the jawline. Like, he looks the business in this, and that's the best thing he does, Dave, in this movie. But that haircut is one of the worst things about this movie, other than the acting and the plot. His haircut is so distracting all the way through. The amount of spray he's had to put on there to keep that up in that position. He just looks like a TV version of Vanilla Ice / Ivan Drago. His hair is terrible in this. Why is he gone with that haircut? Or whoever's decided in makeup to go with that haircut is terrible.
Yeah. So I'll get back to the hair, but I just want to rewind on what you said before about when Spader's giving the talk at the start. And the thing is, they're obviously in some old manor house or something, and the place is packed. There is not a free seat anywhere, but there doesn't seem to be anything going on. It's not like there's a Comic-Con or something and everyone's kind of going through different talks and sitting down, listening to different people. But it seems like the only thing that Spader's got to say, like, everyone is there, everyone's taking time out of their day, but the only thing he's got to say when he doesn't know, how did the pyramids get created, everyone's just like, fuck off, you fucking don't know what you're talking about, and they all just walk out. I'm like, this is a weird setup. It's as if they've tried to take something from Indiana Jones, like, to put him in that studious lecturer, close to that, type context. But I just found it, straight away, I found it weird that it's like, where's these people come from? Like, why have they come to this talk when it doesn't seem like it's in a university or anything? It seems like it's in a manor house, but they clearly don't like what he's got to say. And I just found the setup really quite weird. And then, honestly, right, the haircut. I mean, which one? Because when they first get to Kurt Cobain Russell,
that's a good one. Yeah,
and he's got the wig. And the thing is, Russell's got the fucking chin, the jaw. Like you say, he's got great eyes as well. But that fucking Kurt Cobain wig that he's got on, I'm like, oh, what are you doing? And yeah, it is. It's like, what is it? Batman Begins, where they young Christian Bale is just Christian Bale with curtains. They've just nothing, and he doesn't look young, or it's just a weird like teenager or early 20s person's haircut stuck on Kurt Russell, who looks about 40. Like, it's just. It just took me out straight away. I am enjoying this movie on the rewatch, by the way, but I have to hold my hands up. It's not a great movie, but I kind of love it. But yeah, there's so many things wrong with it. And like you say, it's a weird setup. I mean, it's supposed to be that, his son's got hold of one of his guns and killed himself or something like that. And that's the setup. So he's all depressed. But I don't know if there was more shot and it's just kind of skimmed over because they want to keep the runtime down, and so it's just like, oh look, Kurt Russell is all depressed. Think like Lethal Weapon. When you've got Mel Gibson there, and he's clearly, he's looking at the picture of his wife, and he wants to kill himself, and it's a really emotional scene. You can see this guy who's at breaking point, and it gives you a good window into his character. Whereas this one, it just completely skims over that. In fact, I say the first half hour to when they get to this kind of alien planet that looks like Egypt, like it all happens so fast. But Kurt Russell's fucking flat top, I was mesmerized by it because, like you say, the amount of product he must have. Did you ever experiment with the flat top, Chris?
I did. Yes, I did, Dave. It never works, and obviously our lack of money as a family just didn't help. So I sort of ended up with probably a bit like a slick back haircut more than a flat top. But I did. Ivan Drago was the pinnacle, wasn't he? A few times I've had haircuts, and he used to have a woman. I don't know what he used to say. He used to have like a woman hairdresser come to the house, and he'd be like 10, 11, and I mean that got Chrissy stirring a little bit as well because she's probably only been to age, but anyway, that's another story. But yeah, I remember just wanting a flat top, and I just didn't look like a fucking porcupine. I looked like a fucking hedgehog than I did Ivan Drago. It just looked like, I don't know, like when you see the porcupines or them puffer fish where the spikes come out. It was just everywhere. It wasn't like straight or anything. Oh, it was awful.
Yeah, so I did as well, and I guess it's just one of those times, isn't it? I'm feeling like it's probably late 80s, mid to late 80s, where lots and lots of people had flat tops. But I remember, like in the morning before school, I had the hair dryer thing, and you're trying to put it back, and you're trying to brush it back and everything. And I just remember, like, one morning I was just like, oh, fuck this, I can't be arsed. And so didn't bother. So just like let my hair down normally, like a fucking normal person. I remember my mum having a real go at me, like as if this was like, I don't know, learning to play guitar or something. And I'd just given it up. It's just, you just don't want to put the work in. It's like, well, no, spending fucking half an hour, I'm a kid, in front of the mirror in the morning. So yeah, it's just a weird thing, isn't it? A point in time when flat tops were the thing. But in 94, they definitely weren't. And again, what also, I'm not joking when I said I was mesmerized by it. I'm thinking when they get to this alien Egypt, what is keeping that hair in place? Because they're there for a long time.
Yeah, I know.
Because you've got your own experience of maintaining this fucking thing on the top of your head. It's like, how are you doing that? Did you bring a load of mousse or hairspray with you? And do you spend half an hour in front of the mirror every fucking morning? So yeah, weird.
It's fucking brilliant. Even when he's got a mask on and everything, and like he's got that mask, but then there's a bit where he's got like his head covered, and he's pretending like the part of these people. And he still pulls it back, and his hair is perfect all the way through.
Springs back to life.
Oh, it's ridiculous. I mean, I'm reading some of the trivia, and we said about Ra, that the lad who played him was just a model, wasn't he? A fashion designer in London. He didn't want to do it. And he said here, he offered him, he said, well, I don't want to do it, but I'll do it for $1 million. And he accepted. And he's like, oh, all right then, I'll do it. I'll take it. Because he isn't very good in this. You can see that. He says he won an award in the Crying Game.
Terrible actor.
It's weird though. I mean, I know I'm jumping a little bit, but his character's very strange because it almost becomes like, it's like he's very campy, and the way he delivers, he's not at all like scary as a baddie. When you've got that like, oh yeah, he's, you can tell he's a bastard. What I find really difficult in this movie is I'm jumped too far, so let me go back a little bit. When they get to the base, and then you've got like what's he called? James Spader's character. He's there doing his bit. What's he called? Daniel Jackson, Dr. Jackson.
Yeah.
And he's reading all the hieroglyphics and everything, and he's saying like, this is the key, and they're like, well, there's nothing on there, and then they actually show the Stargate and all this, so he's reading all that, and like he's clever, and he's got the board, and he's rewriting it and all this stuff, very clever. And then obviously O'Neill comes in, dead ashen face, because I must admit, like, Kurt Russell always comes across as a really like nice guy, doesn't he? I'm sure he isn't. He looks like he's got, reading some stuff about this movie, I think he's got a temper on it, but he comes across as like pretty normal for Hollywood standards of person. And he's usually these, like, you look at Big Trouble in Little China or you look at Tango and Cash, different movies, I know, but he's good when he's got a bit of humour. Even Guardians of the Galaxy in that, the second one, he's a baddie in it, but he's got humour, and he? A one-liner in him. He's a bit of a smart ass. In this, he's just completely ashen-faced, and and what makes me laugh is he's got a death wish, but his poor wife's at home who's lost a son. Is he not bothered about losing? Like, he wants to die. Does he not want to think of his poor wife? I think his delivery of this like moody, quite rightly because he's lost his son, but this straight down the middle military man. It's almost like he's smirking all the time when he's trying to be serious, and I can't really take his character serious through it. Even as a badass in it, I don't really buy him. He's more of a like comedy relief Tango and Cash like actor for me, where he's got something he can fight, but he's never going to be the toughest guy in the room, if that makes sense. But in this, there's something off about him in this character O'Neill. I just don't really believe, even though he looks the business and he looks really chiseled and that, I just don't think it sells it to me as a character.
Yeah, I agree. I think Kurt Russell for me will always be Jack Burton.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of Big Trouble in Little China character where he's got a bit of charm about him, bit of a chancer, and I think he doesn't quite fit. I think, you know, if I was to recast, I would probably put someone like Michael Ironside. You know, if you want that stereotypical badass drill sergeant,
yes,
you know, there's kind of someone who I'd have in there, I think. But I mean, you say so Spader's playing the linguist. I mean, you say he's clever. This guy makes Stephen Hawking look like the fucking dunce of the class, doesn't it? I mean, the thing that took me not out of it, but took me by surprise was just how quickly they got to the alien planet. And I think if you were to make this movie, like say in an alternate universe, we didn't have this movie and someone was to make it around about today, it would be stretched out, and probably it would be a trilogy, and probably at the end of the first movie they open the Stargate.
Yes.
But in this one, he just literally walks through the doors and he's like, he's spotting all the gaps. And, you know, even though you've got this other fella who's been working on it for years, I mean, they've had this shit since 1928. They've been working on it. And he just walks in off the street. He's like, oh, there you go. Here we go. Working. Bada bing. Right. Let's do this, you know? So, again, that's why I say, I look at it now and it's like, oh, yeah. Objectively, it's not great, you know, just at it's completely unbelievable. You know, he can be the smartest guy on the planet, but even so, it was even too quick for that. So yeah, and then they kind of go through, and you've got the 1994 CGI, haven't you? So that dates it quite a lot, I think, but it's not bad, and I think at the time it looked fairly great. And the thing, what I would say to praise it, the reason it spawned all of these different TV shows, as well as, you know, people are trying to make lots of money off that, it just created this new universe. You know, you had Star Wars, obviously, you got Star Trek, you've got things, you almost had, what was it, Babylon 5 or whatever. You had these other sci-fi universes, but this created something that, again, blends that far-off alien technology with things that we know from the ancient world as well. And obviously, you know, Ra, when it's taken over the boy's kind of body, but you've got aliens, and I'm guessing they expand on all of this in the TV shows and whatever, all of the lore. And so, yeah, I can see why there's so much in here. It is quite dense and it races right through it. But I can see why a TV exec would be looking at this going, oh, we could really sort of stretch this out.
I'm with you. I think you're right. I think, like, as a TV concept, it works a lot better. doesn't it? And you can over, say, 10, 12 episodes do the Stargate being something they get to towards the end, as you've said. It's like the Dune movies, isn't it? Now, like I've not even watched any of them. I don't know, like a lot of people say they were the original idea for Star Wars, weren't they? George Lucas took a lot of that for Star Wars, but I've just never watched it because it just seems like it's just a world you've got to invest 3 hours in to get into it, and I'm just can't be doing with it.
If only there were an 80s Dune movie with Sting in it.
Well, yeah, exactly, Dave. Yeah. We've watched the one with David Bowie, Labyrinth. We don't need to see one with Sting in it, Dave. Gordon's fine where he is. Just let him keep singing his songs. But yeah, I think you're right. I think like what's interesting as well about Jackson is that all of a sudden he could then speak the language because he's in an ancient Egyptian language and he's able to communicate. And then we get the full subtitles, don't we? Because at first there's no subtitles and then there is. But the idea behind it, when we finally meet Ra, is he's not scary at all.
Man.
He looks like a little kid who, the way he's delivering, like he's obviously in the language they're speaking and the fear. Initially, you think they're okay, and then Jack and that puts his gun down, doesn't he? And then eventually Jack sort of starts kicking ass a little bit, and then he gets a kick in, and Daniel gets shot. But I'm sort of like, I don't get where the fear is. And then we have these weird flying, the Wizard of Oz type things go and take out the village. But even the villagers, like the people who they meet initially, they feel as if there's something to do with Ra, don't they? Because he's got the amulet on. And they're like trying to communicate. They feel like they're, we're not worthy type thing. It's just a weird idea that they've ended up in this ancient Egyptian world and what they're fighting for and what the payoff is. There just doesn't seem to be a real payoff, or like when you need to root for something in a movie. I just don't feel as if like, it feels like we're just going from scene to scene here, not like telling a good story. I don't know. Really, Jackson's the narrator. Dave Spader's the narrator of the movie, isn't he? Because he's telling everyone about the law. He's the person in the movie who's building this world by his findings, by what he knows. He's like telling everybody, not just O'Neill and his fucking crew of grunts and soul super soldiers. He's actually telling us, the audience, what's going on as well. But I just don't think they do a very good job with the dialogue to make us care enough, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I mean, apart from Spader and Russell as well, I mean, the military guys are almost fodder, aren't they?
Yeah.
When the aliens first come down, a few of them get killed off, where you're like, yeah, didn't really care about them. And the other thing, I'm going to get into body shaming here, but I can't help it. The thing is, these are supposed to be, your crack military group. Hardened military men, and especially when they find out, when they get to the other side, and Jackson's job is essentially to, if they get to the other side, to help them get back. That's his job. But then he sort of says they can't do it, and then they turn on him quite quickly, and start to get annoyed. But they've all got their T-shirts on there. It is fucking baking in the desert. They're all wearing black. And I'm like, you must be sweating your bollocks off there. But they've all got like the fucking twiglet arms. They don't look like military people. They do look like just actors, sort of, just happen to be available around that time, or, as like side characters. This is before, I mean, lead actors still got themselves into shape, obviously, through the 80s and 90s. And, well, even before that, but just in a different way. You had Stallone and Schwarzenegger changed the whole game in the 80s, didn't they? But, yeah, I just found it weird, like, because they went with the short sleeve shirts and, yeah, just weird twiglet arm thing going on. But, yeah.
Weird twiglet thing going on.
Honestly, if you go back and look at it, it just sort of took me out of it. It's like, I'm not buying you guys as military guys. It's just, it doesn't fit. But I mean, there's something weirdly meta about this as well. You've got the American army coming in. They meet with the locals. They're trying to train up the locals, who end up, Kurt Russell, he sort of gets friendly with this one kid who's like almost like a surrogate for the son that he lost, That was that whole thing. But then he's teaching him how to smoke. It's like, that's not that fatherly. But then they all kind of, when they get hold of the guns, they're suddenly this fucking crack team of military this military machine. They're all brilliant shots. And it's all just a bit bonkers. And like I say, you had the Iraq War not too long before this, did you? It just seems, I wonder if there was a bit of extra, tax money funneled this way to, say, oh, there you go, look, the American army come in, they build up the local insurgents and then overthrow their leaders. There you go, lads. Put a bit of sci-fi spin on it, bada bing.
Well, I think that's a very good description of this movie. But when Daniel Jackson gets shot, doesn't he, with that weird fork thing, that's the weapon.
Yeah.
And he takes one, doesn't he? He sort of saves O'Neill because O'Neill's like gone around, done a bit of a kick in, and then he gets taken out himself. He ends up in like some sort of chamber, doesn't he, which reverses the injury and revitalizes him, doesn't it? And then the reason that which I don't think's explained very well, Dave, even though we've got subtitles now and Jackson's understanding them, is that O'Neill's come through with a nuclear bomb. He's on a suicide mission, basically, and he doesn't care about the world. That's why they're sort of going at them. But then that triggers, as I say, the Wicked Witch of the West and the Wicked Witch of the East going and attacking the village. And this is where they take a lot of people out, and the villagers will then understand, because they start fighting back, that they're just normal people, but they communicate, say they think they're the gods because they've got these like masks on, which they're not. They're just normal people, aren't they? So I think that's what gives them that bit of impetus to go, hang on a minute, we're being sold a dream here. This is literally the Wizard of Oz. We're so scared, but there's nothing behind the curtain, basically, and there is an upheaval. I'm still dubious, though, Dave, because how many guns did O'Neill and his team bring through? Because there is an unlimited amount of bullets and machine guns, and I don't remember him walking through with these massive holdalls or cargo things, or there's not been like an emergency drop from a big fucking plane or something. It's ridiculous, that, isn't it? They've got like submachine guns, they've got Uzi, they've got everything. Uzi, submachine, they've got all sorts of guns, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. And then it turns into almost like a James Bond, like For Your Eyes Only, like one of them where he's fighting with the resistance again. There's some really cliche, like you say, meta stuff with the American, we'll save the world again. But some of the stuff again doesn't make any sense to me at all. Like, it just doesn't. It just falls off a cliff, this movie, even more. Like, there wasn't a lot I was rooting for, but there's even less by the end of it. All I'm looking at, as you said before, is Kurt Russell's hair. How immaculate it is, because it's perfect. I mean, maybe he should have took Ra out with his hair, because I think it was like they could have been like adamantium spikes or something, because it just does not move no matter what the conditions. That hair is immaculate. I love it. Like comic book levels, isn't it?
It is a little bit, isn't it? It's certainly iconic, and I'm going to jump to the defense now, because I do think, again, there's so much ridiculous in this, and you're right. They brought through an arsenal, didn't they?
Yeah.
They're coming through apparently with a plan to blow up the other side. I mean, they've had this fucking Stargate since 1928, and at some point someone said, oh, I bet there's some fuckers on the other side who might be a bit dangerous. So instead of finding out, we should basically nuke it. But what we should also do is take unlimited weapons through, just in case we find a local people that we can get to rise up against their evil rulers. There's just so much that is just utter nonsense. But again, I'm not making a very good defense, but when I actually do defend, I thought the special effects, the physical special effects, were really good. I mean, we've all seen, when you're at school, you understood about the pyramids and the hieroglyphics and everything, and you had these same kind of shaped, like the dog head on a person's body and everything, and all looked a bit weird, and you're like, oh, they weren't very good artists, were they? But then this brings it to life in almost this, sci-fi kind of mechanical way, and I thought it looked great. It just looked a bit shit when he sort of showed everyone that it wasn't a god, and they layered on a bit of CGI then, which wasn't very good. But the actual physical effects, I thought looked really good.
Well, Dave, you're definitely on your own. But no, to be fair, it's of its time, isn't it? Like 94, it is. The effects are good. I'm joking. There is, because I think there's certain things with the masks. I like the way the masks come off them. It's not a physical lift-off mask. It's not Star Wars. It's genuinely like morphs. It's like it's in there, isn't it? Morphs into the face.
Think of how this has influenced Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, same mask, same thing, isn't it? He's masked, so it's almost like the mask is invisible until he shows. It's like he wears it all the time. And they say that, we were saying about Kurt Russell, these days, like Kurt Russell probably in the 90s or like late 80s, he said about his character in Big Trouble in Little China, but he was probably Chris Pratt before Chris Pratt knew who he was. That's the sort of characters he's good at. That smart ass wise guy type of thing who Chris Pratt plays, doesn't he, a lot in his movies? Quite typecast, but that's who he is. But I think you're right. It probably has influenced them as well, that sort of mass. Even Dave, I'd even say Man of Steel, which you hate, but I love Man of Steel. But when the masks come off on General Zod and that fight in Kansas, yeah, and his mask comes off. So it's a good one. But I think overall, like the payoff all the way through at the end as well, like with Ra and the whole bomb thing and everything and the teleportation, I'm just not buying it, Dave. I'm sorry, I'm not buying it at all. Like, I'm not having it.
What about Jackson? Again, this is a good trope, isn't it? But he finds the hottest girl in the local tribe.
Yeah.
And she takes a bit of a shine to him, because she doesn't go for the rugged military men, because she's an alien, I guess, and goes for the nerd. I mean,
and he says no.
Why wouldn't you lap this up?
Exactly. You know what I mean? He's not exactly going to get the CSA after him, Dave, because he's in another world. So if anything happened and he didn't wear his wellies, does it really matter?
Kurt Russell's on his way back. He's like, it's all right, mate. I'm just going to hang around here for a bit, if that's all right. I've peaked. I'm not doing any better than this.
Doing a Doc Brown when he turns up in a time machine with two kids and that. Yeah, I'm staying. It's all right.
What was it? The guy from Trancers who's about 60 or something, and then what was it? Tim Thomason, and then he's got fucking 20-year-old Colin Hunt. It's like, I'm gonna fucking stick around. It's fine.
Yeah, not a great life, but I think honestly, it was one of the movies. To be fair, I watched this in one go, and it is available for anyone wondering. It's on Amazon Prime. And it may have the curse of the VHS Strikes Back, because Dave, you did tell me, I think he's leaving soon, but it's not available. It's available on your normal Prime membership, because Amazon are absolute sharks now. They've got that many. Come and join us, and you're watching a film. It says it's on Prime. It's gone. The MGM app is a blag. You've got so many things you've got to pay for now on Amazon to watch a film, but it is available. So get on it quick, guys. Hopefully it's still. I didn't see an end date, but it would just be typical of us to release this and then it's like not available anywhere. So definitely worth a watch. It's 2 hours long, and I just love the fact we're talking about it, Dave, because you've picked this nonsense. And I don't think it's a stitch up, but it didn't annoy me. It was more just the laughter of like, oh my god, this has not aged well. You're 31 years old. This has not aged well.
Well, again, this is the era of the stitch up, so the fact that you didn't enjoy it isn't a massive surprise. I did wonder, because I have thrown some out there that you've ended up enjoying, which I didn't expect. But I think this one maybe lands a little bit close to where I was aiming. But Chris, should we get into our final trailer? Final review?
Let's go! So Dave, I didn't completely hate it. I just love taking the mick out of it. And it felt, I said to you at the start, I've not seen it for 30 years. So it was almost like watching a new movie. There was bits that I do remember Ra, or I certainly remember, I keep saying it, but Kurt Russell's hair is magnificent, his jawline. But other than that, it's quite forgettable. I think James Spader, he's like this super clever guy. I just never convinced. You can give him floppy hair and a pair of glasses. He doesn't mean that he's Nostradamus or whatever he's supposed to be. I don't think the cleverest guy in the world. I don't know who he's supposed to be, but he just isn't convincing. And I think I don't root for anybody because O'Neill's a bit of a dick. And like the people who he's supposed to be protecting, it's all that they've got the guns. He's trying to not let them use the guns, and I don't know. It just doesn't click for me. I do think the special effects are good of his time, and the whole mask thing when they come off is good. So I'm going to put it in Elm Street, Dave. It's not absolutely terrible, and it's probably worth a watch. But it's been 31 years between watches, Dave, or 30 years. I don't think it'll be another 30 years. I don't think I'll ever watch this again, to be honest. But you've sort of done your job. I'll semi, not that I've got a semi, but I'll semi say that it's sort of a stitch up in some ways. So what about yourself?
Yeah, well, if I've made you watch a movie that you'd never want to watch again, I'll take it. So yeah, I think for me, I loved this movie. I think the ideas in it are great, and the fact that it spawned so many different TV threads that obviously I'm never going to watch, but there's obviously a lot there. You can see there's so much, there's so many ideas packed in, and the fact that a lot of it is based on this, or I'm assuming it's based on this book that came out in the 70s, this Chariots of the Gods, this whole idea that aliens built the pyramids, and, they just didn't have the language, the vocabulary to really document what they were seeing. And so there's something about this that just taps into my imagination that I absolutely love. With that said, I can't ignore all the flaws, but it's one of those, I think if you love something, you'll ignore all of the flaws. If say I had a hypothetical team that went to Grimsby Town and got humiliated, it wouldn't stop me supporting that club.
Yeah.
Hypothetically.
Yeah. All right. So I'll keep that in my back pocket. Don't worry. It's in the back pocket. Don't you worry about that.
So I can't help but still love this, but it's definitely flawed. I do wonder if someone was to just watch it now without that nostalgia, if they would actually enjoy it or not. But yeah, I still really enjoy it, mainly for the ideas and less so the execution. But yeah, so I think it's a Pleasantville. I think it's not the strongest. It's definitely not tickling Cloud City there. It's probably more down more towards the middle, getting towards Hill Valley. But yeah, still really enjoyed it. And the fact that you really didn't enjoy it just makes it even better.
And you even got a United dig in there as well. Yeah. It's even worse. So next week, Dave, we have got it's a really unusual movie, actually, and it's from our longest supporting patron, Mr. Kent Gustafsson, who supports us on the VHS Strikes Back and Chris and Dave's reality TV cast. So we do appreciate all his support. But I'll tell you what, Dave, he's definitely going to, this is mentally, can he break us? It's not necessarily the year of the stitch up, but this is a completely, and I mean this is a completely different type of review for me and you that I don't know where we're going to go with it. I'm sort of looking forward to it, to know what we're going to do with this. But anyway, we are going to be reviewing the 1965 Andy Warhol movie, Empire, which, just for disclaimer, is fully on YouTube. And now this movie is 8 hours long. And that's all I'm going to say, Dave. I don't know where we're going to go with this, what we're going to talk about, but Ken has picked one. I think he's trying to mentally see what we come up with, Dave, or, how we're going to go through this. So, Ken, I do salute you, my friend, and we both appreciate all your support, but this could be the stitch up of stitch ups, Dave. So we'll see next week. But I am sort of looking forward to what we've got to do to get to next week's episode.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's been such an amazing supporter of ours for such a long time, and I wasn't sure if Ken was sort of playing along with the stitch up thing, and then he fucking pulls this one out of the fire, and I'm like, Oh, yeah. Well played, sir. Well played. I think you might have us there. So, yeah, I won't say anything else, just in case we spoil it for next week. We don't want any plot spoilers in there. But, yeah, I don't quite know what we're going to talk about, but let's watch it and find out.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you so much, Ken. And thank you to everyone, as always. We do appreciate it. If you want to email us, the vhsstrikesback@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on social media, @VHSStrikesback. And if you do want to support us, like Ken does, please go over to patreon.com/the VHS Strikes Back. So the roll call of honour, and a big thank you to Nick, Greg, Gareth, Mike, Lee, Helen, Dylan, Dan, Justin, Susan, Tim, Matt, Hales, Ken, Lucky Lulu Green, Herbs, Jack Black. No, that's an actor. Herbs, Jack, Math, Blake, John Hammond, and Mr. Tony Farina. So thank you so much, guys. Amazing support as always. Oh my God, Dave, I don't know what to say about next week. I really don't. We'll come up with something.
Indeed, I hope so too. But let's see. But anyway, Chris, so I talked quite a lot about, I've got very vivid memories of around this time in 95. And one of the other things was, so around this time, I moved to Preston in 94 and I just missed out. So before that, I had friends who told me about this gig, and I actually went on later on. I practiced with different bands at the Mill, and there was a gig there, I think it was 93, headlined by The Verve. Right? And I think I've mentioned before that I had a weird connection to the guitar player. My uncle, who sort of taught me how to do stuff in the gym, his best mate was the brother of the guitarist. And I remember when they got signed, and I probably must have been 15 or something at the time, and then never heard of them for years. And then it was only because a mate of mine in Preston was a mad fan of them and had watched this gig in 93, and they were supported, Chris, by Oasis. And I remember, the story goes that no one gave a fuck. They must have only recently been signed or something, and no one was really paying attention or listening to them. And then at the end, so before they went off, they played I Am the Walrus, and everyone was like, holy shit. These guys have got something here. So, and I lament the fact that I just fucking missed out on that gig. But around this time, I'd been sort of more exposed to the Verve, and so I was really into particularly that first album. Well, anyway, so I've dipped into the Verve inspiration once before. So Naked Lunch, I kind of played around with it then. But with this being all kind of, astronomy, stargazing, sort of spacey, I just thought, well, I'm going to have to go back to the Verve. So this one is Stargate, very much inspired from around that time.
So probably it's a bit of a proper indie mix that day. That's like a bit even almost cooler shaker as well. You know, like sort of chilled. It's a bit of that's a definitely let's roll a spliff and just chill out, look at the ceiling. Type movie.
Definitely. You know, roll yourself a special little cigarette there, look up at the stars. That's where you want to be. But I don't think you've probably heard Verve's first album, have you? The Storm in Heaven. So that was what they were touring, and I think I think it was the one after that, but definitely the first album. I'm going to send it to you after we finish recording, but the song is called Slide Away, which obviously
I've tried that before, Dave.
Oh, I like that as a sound, and I think that wasn't it on the second album, What's the Story? The Cast No Shadow was written about Richard Ashcroft, and so I think the Verve were a massive influence on Oasis, but definitely that first album was more this stargazing, psychedelic rock sort of sound, and that guitar sound, just the control of the feedback. That's what sort of really brings me in. I know Verve got commercial success later. Is it 97 Urban Hymns? But
yeah,
the earlier stuff is definitely the go-to for me.
That's a bit like the Kings of Leon. The early stuff's miles better than the commercial stuff.
Yeah, but they console themselves with all the rest of the money.
Oh, it's a kicker, isn't it? Oh,
it's like the George Best story, isn't it? Where he's up there with Miss World or something, and the bellboy's like, where did it all go wrong, George?
I love it.
But yeah. Anyway, cheers for that, sir. I feel happy and slightly smug that you didn't enjoy this week's. Although, I feel a little bit sad that I've got to watch 8 hours of an Andy Warhol movie next week. But yeah, I can't wait to figure out what we need to talk about next week. But thank you very much, sir. Thanks to all our listeners out there. Thanks to all our supporters. And we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do?
Maybe we could build a fire, sing a couple of songs, huh? Why don't we try that?
We better get back, because it'll be dark soon, and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
I'll be back. That's a lie.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Wax on, wax off.
Get to the chopper!
One ring to go. All right. Ding, ding. Bust you up. Go for it.
Well, here we go. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Come on, ain't so bad. Ain't nothing. Come on. You must be crazy or something. I'm crazy. You just a stupid. Yeah, maybe you crazy. I ain't breathing heavy. He's a fool. He's stupid. I seen you at 6 miles an hour.
I must break you.